9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
この惑星の子供たちと呼ばれる存在には
おはようございます。
超授業だりんやそう
全身でぶつかっていかなくてはならない。
もしよかったら付き合って。
声が小さい。
ただ
教師としてあるまじき行為を
分かっております。
この惑星の教育は加減が難しい。
でも君はいい教師になる。
缶コーヒーのボスレインボーマウンテン。
will get cancer in the butthole. It'll burn and burn and burn. They won't be able to sit down because of the burning in their butthole. He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole. God's going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. You're going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. If you thought that AIDS was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, fantastic.
Welcome to the DigiBowl on Fox Kids with your host, Terry Bradshaw.
Look at me. I get to host the first DigiBowl. The first. Super Bowls, they come and go. But the DigiBowl, now that's exciting stuff. But can't do it alone, so luckily I have two authentic Digi-Destins, Izzy and Kari, helping me. First, let's check in with my sideline correspondent, Kari. Maybe she can tell us what in the heck a DigiBowl is.
Harrison Ford! Also, her mit Harrison Ford. Welcome to the Bombad Cast.
There's very few things that make me laugh quite as hard as this comment does. Is the idea of this being a form of church is just incredible. All right, everyone, please make sure you take out your wallets and donate generously, please, to the Bombad Cast Foundation Fund for handsome gay men. This is going directly to Joe Organa's pants when he does strip teases for us after we let him out of his cage. Anyway, y'all, welcome to the Bombad Cast. Very happy to be here. Look, you can do new camera settings. This is that's what this reminds me of. This is kind of crazy looking. We're gonna test this out just between Jerry and I. This is I kind of like this, but I also don't. I like this. This feels so much more real. Anyway, welcome to the Bombed Cast. We go live every Thursday. Happy to have you here. We're trying to get a few things going in the world to launch some cool new stuff. Obviously, we're actually planned out, for those that don't know, all the way until the end of the year with Skeleton Crew and probably a little bit of time after. Coming up in the near future, just so you know, I'm going to read you all the schedule. There's two things that might get flip-flopped. We're trying to lock down the 24th. We may have a guest promote their book. We're not going to say who or what, but that's a possibility. But definitely the 31st, Halloween evening, we're doing our creepypastas. If you have a Star Wars creepypasta, please write one up and email it here. We will read it live on air. It is the bombadcast@gmail.com. We will take any submissions. By the way, we have Jerry and I write one every year. So does we get them from different people as well. Michael usually writes one. Eli is currently writing one right now. So got some Bombad plans. That being said, what is plans without your best friend? Let me bring in one of my favorite people of all time, the one, the only, Jerry, the Canon Junkie Cable. Jerry.
Hello. Yes. How do you get the circle?
Let's do that again.
What do you think? Get the circle. Is it gonna turn us both into Listen. Hey, it's great to be here. All work and no play makes Jar Jar a dull boy. That's what we're here to talk about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, horror.
Yeah.
Star Wars horror, right? Yeah.
This is crazy.
Mix The Shining and The Phantom Menace.
I don't know if let me try this. Hold on. This is too much. How does this work?
I like that oh, here we go. Look at this. This is fun. Chat, what do you think? Chat?
This is kind of wild. I don't know if I like it. We'll figure it out. This one's the square version.
Yeah.
I
don't like the square. The square is just the square feels like we don't have enough money to pay for the entire screen.
Yeah, that's true.
Is what it feels like.
You know who does have some money from being pretty?
Oh,
pretty
who's
sexy.
That?
Oh, he knows. I see him getting all sensitive in the back. And look, it's someone I don't like. I hate this guy.
Oh, we
hate him. I hate him.
I gotta get my shirt, man.
I hate this dude. You know what I want to see though? Just for the fans, I want to see some pits. That's all I'm asking. Just do the because every time we get a screenshot of this, it goes viral on Twitter. So let's bring him in. Without further ado,
pits.
We're talking scariest Star Wars moments, and we have some interesting ones. We're going to talk about what scariness means to us. Like, do we like horror? All of that with our wonderful friend, the one and only, the most handsome. He was our co-host for the entire coverage of The Acolyte, which is unfortunately now a season series.
We unfortunately had to fire him after that because just slightly because the numbers weren't great for our views, and so yeah. Sorry,
no, we didn't have to fire him. It was a workplace. I guess interference. There was some foul play between the co-hosts together.
That's right.
But anyway, let's bring in the ever handsome, always wonderful, our closest friend, Joe Organa. Oh my gosh. I want to see him big. Show us the armpits. Yeah!
Oh! The pits!
Now, I want to say something in my defense. Every single guest host we had for that entire series was combative with me. I just came back at them, gave them the energy they were giving me, at least in my own head. And that's valid.
That kind of shit happens, man.
They kept saying I was bullying them. No, at the end of the day, it's about Joe Organa, and that's what the people know. That's what they want to hear, and that's what they want to see. And if someone's going to be talking too much, giving their opinion about Star Wars, I have to bring the focus back to me.
You have to.
Yeah, Joe. This show is not about Star Wars.
It's about Joe.
We don't do this show about Star Wars here.
Look, what's the biggest thing on this screen right here? What is it's Joe Organa?
Joe Organa.
It takes, and the words Joe Organa are bigger than even the Bombad cast, right?
Joe Organa. At the end of the day, Joe Organa.
At the end of the day, before you go to bed, Joe Organa.
Live, laugh, Joe Organa.
Hey, what does the words hot sexy mean right there? Who's that referring to?
I don't know. It was asking for my title.
Hot / sexy.
I just
That's your title?
Yeah,
It's interchangeable is what the slash.
It's whatever you feel like assigning to me in the moment. I accept it.
Right.
You know, a lot of people are afraid of to let other people define them. With me, I'm okay. Because I know the definition's either going to be hot and or sexy.
Yes, it's true. And you know what's funny? Speaking of being afraid, we're talking about Star Wars fear. And Joe, I want to say something about you in particular. You're like a die-hard horror fan, right? Like that's
I am a big horror fan. I like horror. Yeah? I think as a kid, I didn't like horror because my parents had this thing where they thought it was funny to scare the shit out of me. Yeah. And I don't know, you know, I didn't vibe with it. And now that I'm an adult, I was like, I don't know why I'm scared of or why I'd be upset about the movies. So I would just start watching movies in my spare time, horror movies. And, you know, I found out that I vibe with them and I like them. And even when they're bad, they're kind of funny. So it's, you know, I like some horror.
Well, it's funny too because all the games you usually stream on Twitch are like Death by Daylight, right? Is that what
a lot of horror? Yeah, I do. I play Dead by Daylight a lot. I also play other horror games. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's also an entertainment factor. People like on Twitch to watch you get scared, or and I feel like a lot of times with like other games, you're not as invested. But with a horror game, like if it's a truly good horror game, you're going to be emotionally invested in that because you're genuinely freaked out or scared or nervous.
Yeah.
Unlike with other games where you're just like half-heartedly, you know, mining or in a big craft or something.
When I watch Joe play, my favorite thing is like when someone like goes up to him, like what they do is in the game. So have you ever played it, Jerry? It's like you're being hunted, but you got to like keep things going. It's weird. How would
I've
you
never
describe
played
it?
Dead by Daylight by any time. Well, I was say because I also love some horror. I'm a late blooming horror fan as well, and I love me a good slasher and stuff like that. In fact, I just watched through all except for Scream 6 over the past couple of weeks and stuff, and so but yeah, no. So Dead by Daylight, I know I need to check it out because I know it has a lot of DLC from stuff that I love.
It does. It has. It encompasses a lot of different horror genres, a lot of different horror movies, franchises. It's basically 4 survivors, 1 killer in a trial. The survivors have to finish 5 generators to open the exit gates and escape. Meanwhile, they're being hunted by a killer with different various powers and abilities. And that killer has to sacrifice them to the entity, which is like this unknown big bad in the sky. So it's fun. It's just it's honestly not a horror game. It's more of like a competitive thing at this point. But it's because I think it's so ridiculous the things that happen in the game that it's lost any horror ability. Although there are moments where it surprises you with how bad it'll make you scream.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I watch you play, you're always whenever the killer gets to you, you're like, you dumb bitch, stupid bitch. Like, you're always like it's like you deflate it. Like any tension I feel in like a good way, you're like, no, because that's why I can watch it. If Joe screamed the entire time, it would probably make me scream. Which screaming turns some people on, Jerry. But usually,
guilty as charged. Whoa, hey, yeah, no, listen. That's what a good scream queen does, though. Is they they shout things, empowering things at the monster and stuff to talk them down and stuff like that. I love that kind of stuff.
I wanted to kind of kick off the discussion too with something that's important to me, because when you watch a Star Wars, obviously one thing you look for is they've got the hero factor, they got the cowboy factor, they got the kind of edginess factor, the action's good, the quiet moments are great, the music is great. There's so many things about Star Wars it's like super multi-layered, but like one thing that kind of sneaks its way in there is horror, right? So how does Star Wars get away with it? How do y'all think it gets away with it? Because there's some moments, like even Empire Strikes Back, that are damn near like perfect horror elements. That's like super subverted. Does that work for y'all as a Star Wars viewer? Like, how does it pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. For me, I feel like I want to get even more into horror with Star Wars. I think they do it really well in that it's not a horror franchise, but like inherently, space lends itself to horror very well, doesn't it? The unknown, like alien atmospheres and alien species and all these things that are like, that's what horror is. It's the fear of the unknown. It's something you don't understand coming at you, and that lends itself so well to Star Wars And I think Star Wars does it really well in that they have a lot of different types of scary moments throughout. Like they have really psychological horror with like Darth Vader and all the Sith Lords, because a lot of what makes the Sith so scary is the darkness inside them, the psychological, why they fell to the dark side, all of that. And then there's also really other fun, scary things like I said, like aliens that we don't know about, and like we see like big monsters that are attacking our heroes. And so I think that's what makes Star Wars work so well with horror.
What do you think, Jerry? Because Joe was onto something with like the creature design aspect of it, because that is scary. Like some of those creatures are like the ones that. So there was one episode where Jerry and I looked at all of Jabba's palace's creatures, and like there's some of them that are pretty freaking monstrous. Like it's actually
the two-headed giraffe-looking thing was
get
absolutely just ungodly terrifying.
Yeah.
You've got a monomon, right? Or he sounds like like he's from like Digimon or something. But yeah, no.
Cain Addis. Cain Addis is the creature that you're referring
Cain
to.
Addis. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, Cain. Yeah. Okay. But then the other one that was like the giant, the ones that were in that unfinished Clone Wars arc on Utapau.
Oh yeah.
Talking about a monomon or something, or a monomon or something was the name of the like the physical name. I don't know what the name of the species was, but just like a solid beef jerky body, green, like pale green, like a sickly, like, you know, I don't know, just like a sickly worm, and then
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
just pure black eyes. See, that is like something from the Thing. Like if the Thing took over like a giraffe or something, I feel like that's what that would look like. But yeah, no, I mean, a lot of that stuff is nightmare fuel. And but I mean, you know, Star Wars just in its DNA, you know, of course, George wanted to harness the power of myth and all of these things. And so, you know, he kind of takes all these little sprinkles from every little mythical kind of thing, religious texts and things like that, and throws it in there. And what is sprinkled into all of those texts is a little bit of some kind of horrific thing or horrific creature, or well, not just creature, just like horrific, just things that they have to do, or horrific things that are done to people or to the hero in those stories. You know, I mean, even the goddamn Bible has so many like just horrific. I mean, there's a reason why that kind of imagery is all over horror movies as well. Religious imagery. It's just it awakens something terrifying, and
that's the thing.
I think George got a little bit of that DNA in that too, you know, like it just fits so perfectly with that, because Star Wars feels very mythic and feels very, very big. It feels like that bigger, we're trying to teach kids not to go down to the river at night type of story. You know?
I love that because, you know, if you really take a second and reflect on like what our primal instincts say, like we're scared of a handful of things. One of the bigger things is like if you were to walk through the forest tonight, no matter what, even if you know you're safe, something in your brain saying you're available. You are an opportunity for something else, no matter what. It could be a horny Organa, it could be a crazed murderer, or it could be like a big bear. So like you could fall victim to one of those things. And like the same thing happens like in sleep, right? Like if thunder wakes you up, that's like our natural, like, you know, primal instinct to be like frightened by thunder. Like that's something that has scared us and our DNA for thousands, millions of years. So like George tapping into like even the monsters of it all. Like if you look at all old mythology, there's always like if you look at our mythology, there's always like a giant beast or a buffalo or something that's there we go. That's actually amazing. Yeah, Joseph Campbell meets Bruce Campbell. But like this idea of like there is something resting inside of you that's always on the edge, no matter what. It could be something like a jump scare, you know, and it could freak you out a little bit. But like it could be something as just super primal and real, like the Rancor scene. We'll get into our moments. That's not one of my official moments, but the Rancor scene is the scariest scene, even if it looks a little silly and dated. Like you watch it, you're like, this is actually pretty scary. As a kid, it freaked me out. I can tell you that much. But I just think George setting up that Star Wars is gonna be scary has been nice for other creators to tap into it. And man, what I wouldn't give for like a true horror story. Like how cool would that be? Like a genuine. What y'all's pitches? Is it a pitch? Because I have no idea. I don't know what I would do with a horror story, like in the Star Wars world.
I mean, there's so many opportunities. Like I said, we don't have a blueprint for what's happening out in space, so they could do anything. It could be an alien virus. It could be like some sort of horrific xenomorph alien-like creature. It could be anything. You know what I mean? All you got to do is get a couple people up on like a space station or a ship that breaks down, or even on like an unknown planet in the Outer Rim, and or in uncharted space. There's all that, there's that whole area of the galaxy that is uncharted that would set itself up crazy well for like a horror movie.
See, I agree, Joe, because I think even in Skeleton Crew coming up in like literally 5 or 6 weeks, like we're gonna get some of that. Like some of those shots were pretty scary. You know what I mean? I like that.
And I think setting it up from the view of a child lends itself to like that horror aspect as well. The same way Stranger Things does, or like It does,
And look, this is a good one. I like what Brian said. The CZ3 droid. Is that the one that's in the Jawa transport? Hold on. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, that's the
I think it's in the transport, but it's also like
Jabba's palace.
Jabba's palace, like when it's up against the wall.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's it.
C-3PO like bumps into it, and it gives a good woohoo. Like he's at Not Scary Farm at the Wolfman Jack show or something.
That's exactly right. Yeah, Jerry, do you have any like ideal Star Wars horror scenarios that we haven't gotten yet? I know there's Death Troopers, and I know there's other things that have been done.
And I mean, we can get into it a little bit later, because now that my mind's kind of activated to this kind of stuff, I am like kind of like pinpointing more moments that we've had. There has been a lot of really good horror in Star Wars, and not even not even Death Troopers. Like a lot of people feel like horror has to be like this gory R-rated affair and stuff, and horror can just be purely psychological and absolutely just destroy you more so than watching something being torn apart. But I don't know. I mean, Joe's covered a lot of it. I just think that if they want to take that to the, I mean, we did a little bit of that with like kind of the witches, where we kind of had like Acolyte had a little bit of like a spooky feel to it, I feel like, which I really dug. That kind of thing, like the Coven kind of feel and things like that. Also had like a murder mystery kind of feel and everything again, and even a slasher feel. Yes, when we got to Chimere. Just
which we talked about together.
Unloading. Oh man, we did talk about that together. Yeah, but we talked about how it felt like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or someone just like slashing through these people, especially with the mask and everything. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I think maybe I would want to see them. I don't know, because they've done a lot of spiritual horror. They've done a lot.
They definitely have done that.
They've done. Maybe in live action, I would like to see some cosmic horror and stuff like that, because there are some. I feel like, and I'll get into this a little bit. The High Republic, I feel like, has some great cosmic horror elements in it. So,
I think too
like to see that in live action.
I think it's nice that Star Wars. Animated. It has never shied away from body horror. It's actually done really well at body horror, from like scarring and like Palpatine being just because he's super wrinkly and messed up, he's just automatically scarier. You know what I mean? Like, or especially
just nutsack skin. Yeah,
nutsack skin. Rise of Skywalker arguably is the most cultish, like Jared's bringing up here, like very cultish. Like how the Sith have that whole like conclave of people, and they're all like, speaking in Sith. Yes. And Bloom, glad you're here, by the way. Love you, Bloom. Hope you're enjoying your prize.
Hey, Bloom.
Wonderful prize winner over there, Bloom. Anyway, one thing I wanted to bring up too, because this kind of plays into it, and in the image I invoked two of my favorite creatures in Star Wars. I made the graphic for this week, and it's a image of the oh god, I forget the name of this, the OPC killer, and the not Dianoga. What for the
you fake fan? My God,
know,
have you never been to a Minoc roast on Ardini?
Here we go.
You got there though. You got.
I
there.
did. I
I'm
did. Give me a
proud of
second.
you.
Those are two of my favorite like scary creatures. As a kid, I was like really big into like fish and like deep sea fish, and like to think like this looks somewhat like an anglerfish with the tongue of a a tongue of a frog, has two sets of teeth like a shark, but also has like the back of like a lobster or a crawfish. This was like that was it for me. This is one of the coolest creatures, and I remember being a little freaked out by it when it's going behind the
the way it
bongo.
pops off of that rock because you think it's just part of the rock, and then it like separates and it's
awesome.
like, oh, that's a fish. That's a fish.
That like tickled.
It gets immediately annihilated by the Sando Aqua Monster. I think.
Yes. But there was a moment where it goes, it launches and grabs, and you're like, oh no, they're screwed. Like this is pretty scary. And then of course, the big massive, fish comes and saves the day. But is there any creatures y'all have that like kind of speak to you on that very, horror scary level?
On a horror level?
Or anything that like just freak you out a little bit.
This might be controversial, but the Ewoks.
Oh, that's fair. No. The little faces are scary.
Have you ever played Ewok Hunt in Battlefront?
Oh, that is terrifying.
Yes.
No, I know.
They eat people.
Miss Taylor is about to go off in the chat because she had a lot of like scary thoughts about the Ewoks whenever she first saw Return of the Jedi. So
fair enough. They be eating people. They hunt people in the dark and they eat people. That's truly a horror. I would watch a horror movie about a group of people who crash landed on
Endor,
the forest moon of Endor,
and
they got hunted down by a bunch of Ewoks because that would be terrifying.
Yeah, just look at this. There's just something so incredible to this, and like the idea of like them throwing like these little pixie fire things at people, and
oh my god, this is
the noise. The noise is freaking wild. Is that? I wonder if there's any audio. Hold
it's
on.
those eyes, man. I swear.
Yeah, someone's already commentating over, but like, there's like the way they scream and the way like, and then you hear the horns and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is one of the coolest, most creative game modes they've ever made.
It was such a great game.
I want Taylor to go off in the chat about the Ewoks because the things she said were truly terrifying, and it is true. But they're the scariest fucking things on the face of Endor. Absolutely.
Look at them. I mean, look at this. All they're doing is stabbing and rolling.
I mean, they got the Gorax down there too. I think the giant, basically just the giant thing that walks around down there.
Yeah, Joe, this is solid. This is so solid. I love this.
Endor's a scary fucking place when you think about it. Between Ewok movies and just every other thing that we've gotten. It's not a nice forest to be in.
No, not at all. Jerry, do you have any idea what like kind of your favorite creature of scariness would be?
Something of scariness. I've got a lot of creatures that I love, but it's just because I love like creature design. I love monsters, I don't know. I don't remember ever being truly terrified. I know the moment with the Minoc when it hits the glass is one of my early scares in Star Wars. Like that's one of probably the first thing that was like, oh my god. And maybe
didn't
that was
Yoda freak you out?
Why I didn't like it. I think it was a combination of them being in the worm. I think that might have been a part of it too. Like that, and I was like, whoa, what are we watching? Only things on when I'm in the room. But no, I don't know. The Minoc was a pretty early one. A recent one. I want to say the whatever that cyborg ass dude that is hanging out below the ruins of
yes, dude. Wait, I forgot about him.
Yeah,
I almost forgot about it too. I forgot. We still don't really know exactly who or what that was. It was just this weird, crazy half cyborg. Like
I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, dude, that thing was nuts.
That thing was very scary.
Separated. Had the head separated and turned into like a lobster. It was like Terminator meets The Thing meets steampunk meets Star Wars meets
that was Phil Tippett
every fucking weird ass thing. Yeah, that was really it was Mad God. It was Mad God as fuck.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm getting a picture of it pulled up. That thing was wild.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. We got a little more on Ewoks from Quicksilver Girl from Taylor here. Dead, empty eyes and gnawing teeth that aren't meant to consume flesh, yet they hunt humans. Yeah, so the dullness of their teeth indicates that they are herbivores.
Mm-hmm. But they got front-facing eyes, so that
yet
that
the
also
helmets and the meat
implies-
that they cook are evident throughout their settlement. Hold on. Yeah, dead, empty eyes that
There it is.
and gnawing teeth that aren't meant to get. Oh, hold on. We already said that. Yeah.
Look at that, dude.
No, they
I think it was
chose to eat
wild.
human flesh. Absolutely.
Look at that.
Look at that.
This was so
That
creepy.
is fucking awesome. I love you got the red backlight and everything like that.
Dirty
the multiple
tubes,
limbs.
any gross like unclean tubes, like even on a vehicle. Like if I see a car and like the car like under the hood looks dirty and there's like a weird like mechanical thing that I don't like all of HR Giger's work like kind of tickles a weird thing in my brain. You know, I don't know if you've ever
It's
looked
like
at HR.
your hands get gritty just looking.
Yeah,
at it,
you're like,
yeah,
man, I don't. I kind of hate it, but I
you
like
add
it.
the inhumanness of the design of like the robotics to the very human looking eye, but human yet decaying or something. It's very it doesn't look like he's doing very good in there. You know, it's very angry.
Well, the fact that he can like detach himself from his own body is also very like insected. You know, like it's. I love it. I love it. I love that can exist in Star Wars, and like we don't bat an eye. It just exists. It's a creepy Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like it's like there was one shot. Look, I'm getting a photo. There was one shot of its eye that was like it's like a blood orange eye, and you see like there's like a stained like gunk on its lens. Like that just is raw. It feels so weird. Hold on, here it is.
And I mean, just it's got the spines hanging out all over it and stuff. That it doesn't like. What do those even serve? It's just there to look intimidating.
Oh, the dirty lens.
That looks like the eye. That looks like the eye on the book from Hocus Pocus.
Yes. See, that's the thing. Like characters are meant to be a little creepy and unsettling, and I love that Star Wars can do that. So I guess we should get into the bulk of the discussion, and I think we should go around in like a circle on this. Like one of us starts it and we move through. We can just share our scariest moments, and I'll say I think this will make Jared happy. All my moments are from one movie. All of them are from one movie for me. So I think that says something about childhood.
Men in Black. Wild Wild West. I'm trying to think of what will make Jared happy.
I think you'll realize that once I give the first one. Does anyone want to go first on like share their scariest Star Wars moments? Joe, you're our guest. Do you want to share?
I'll go first. Yeah. So there's different types of horror. I think I was touching on this before. For me, there's different types of horror that happen in Star Wars. There's like psychological horror. There's like alien horror. There's like genuine like horror that one can relate to with like the trash compactor closing. That like to me that's a horror scene. I think I'm when I chose my three, I tried to pick three things that hit those different places. So the first one I'm gonna say before anyone else says it, I don't know if anyone else will, but the scene where in The Acolyte, where the stranger comes down off the rock behind Osha out of frame. To me, that's like maybe the first time watching Star Wars I got true chills on my skin. Like that was terrifying.
Yeah.
That was horrific. So I'm gonna say that one.
We reacted to that one together. We all talked about it. And I love that because that really was one of the moments we were all like, oh my God. And then in the episode, like 2 seconds after that, damn Joe, that's good. Why is it? Because we've never seen anybody float either. I think that's part of it.
It was very much Michael Myers. It was something that we haven't really seen. We've had we have imposing, terrifying characters in Star Wars, but I don't think we've ever had a shot like that where he was out of frame. It wasn't the focus of the scene, and you just see it in the background, so slow and unnatural. And you have the hero front and center. It's looking the opposite direction. It was just, you weren't expecting it. It came out of the darkness, out of the blurriness, and it was just a very good horror scene.
I love that. I
Absolutely.
agree. That bitch is
I love
excellent.
that scene. I love that scene. It was very horrific. It was very, yeah, it was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It was like something out of like it was like something out of The Grudge or something. It was just like it felt like a very supernatural thing. And also I don't feel like we've ever seen like the one time I remember a character doing that in a Star Wars thing was in the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars when Dooku like kind of floats down.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see more of that. Although that was probably the best. That's the best shot we'll ever get. And so they should just stop trying already because it was absolutely incredible. So and
I agree.
It's a travesty. Bring that fucking show back for Christ's sake.
I don't want to talk about Alcatraz set.
Sorry.
Jerry, do you have one you want to share?
You know what? So I was a very sleeper, like I got like horror fan, like growing up and stuff. Like I was like, my family weren't horror people at all. They weren't the kind of Christian people that shied away from Halloween or anything like that, or that they let me watch Ghostbusters every Saturday morning for Christ's sake. That's why I'm as bad as I am right now. And
that's it.
That's the reason. That's the reason. Well, that's the reason that's the reasoning that most of those kind of people use anyway.
Yeah.
But no, you know, I remember like in like 4th grade reading a couple Goosebumps books and being like, oh, this isn't too bad. And then Star Wars came out with Star Wars Galaxy of Fear. And I know I've talked to Scotty. We need to do I need to read through these books so we can do like an episode on them someday.
Michael McCoy style.
Michael McCoy style. Exactly. But there is one moment that is stuck with me my entire life. And it's from one where they go, I'm trying to remember the exact. It's called The Nightmare Machine, Star Wars Galaxy Fear, The Nightmare Machine. They go to and this is a canon place now, I'm pretty sure, Hologram Fun World. Correct me, Chad, if I'm wrong. I think Hologram Fun World was mentioned in a novel or something recently. And they meet Lando Calrissian at this place, right? Like the characters from the movies come throughout, like the legacy characters pop in the book, every book. Like it's a different one every time. And Lando is there for some reason, and they're kind of getting to know him. And there's like a moment where they're talking to Lando and a Rancor. And the thing of Hologram Fun World is it's a bunch of holograms walking around of stuff. You know, it's meant to thrill you, scare you, and, you know, make you like have a good time, all that kind of stuff. And they have what you think is a holographic Rancor walk up to Lando. Lando turns around and is like, you know, giving it the Lando 1-2, you know, like you just like kind of like talking it down or whatever, like, oh, silly hologram. And it picks him up and eats him and describes the gore that just falls out. Like it's super fucking gory. And you find out later that that was a hologram and Lando's fine and blah, blah, blah. But just the moment of that thing just ate Lando fucking Calrissian.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Lando Calrissian just got eaten in the most unceremonious. That was very horrific. That was like a very early. And I found that stuff, like, it scared me, but it also intrigued me. And I was like, wow, I find this very thrilling. That was crazy. I can't believe that happened, you know, kind of a thing. And that's one thing that you love. That's what I love about horror. Sometimes it's just what are you going to do to surprise me with this? What are you going to do to, not that you have to do like whatever, but just like, you know, how is it going to happen? How is something that you know is going to happen going to happen?
I think everyone's naturally interested in the morbid. Not everyone. I think most people are.
Most people are.
Like, look, I'm gonna be real with you. Katie, she loves watching those murder mystery shows. Who wakes up at 2 a.m. with anxiety about it? Katie. It's just like just some people have this interest to like get themselves worked up and freaked out about the morbid and the things that maybe you wouldn't see normally in your life. And like there are people that witness like horrible things. Like there was one time when I was a kid, I don't know why, I was like 12. I was obsessed with like looking at bear massacre photos of like where a bear like slaughters a group of hunters. I thought that was it. I thought that was interesting. I was like, this is really compelling stuff. Like, how do these hunters get in situations where a bear is just slaughtering them? And there's like, they show their cuts across their face and their face is like filleted. Oh yeah. And I was like, this is interesting to me. But like, I think everyone has this weird little thing in their brain that they can turn on or off that like puts them more, or like, what's the first thing? Oh, we heard that someone died, and everyone's first thought. What is your first thought? How did they die? It could be anyone, but your first thought, for at least personally, is always like, wow. I know this person. They went to my high school with me. How did they die? And then you hear the reason, like, oh shit, that's horribly graphic, and that's all you can think about. But like, that's just like part of being a human. Is like you want to know how things end and begin, and like the morbid nature of it all. That might just be me. I don't mean to be speaking on the behalf of all of you.
I think some people keep it inside and stuff. I mean,
yes.
Obviously not everyone is like that, but I definitely think it is a very human thing to just be curious of things that we have no concept of, right?
Sure.
Everything like that. And I just go back to it. I mean, as long as you're not acting like Michael Scott when he found out what happened to Ed Truck. If you remember that episode, his Kappa was detated. Anyway, as long as you're not like going around shoving into people's faces, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a little morbid curiosity.
Yes,
yeah, that's being human.
So I'm starring some of the ones in the chat too. After I say mine, I'll obviously go back and point out what some of the people have put, because some of these are very important. And I agree. One of the ones that I love, my scariest, and it's all from the same movie. This one kind of plays into like the morbid, like curiosity makes you want to watch it kind of thing. But when Anakin burns on the hill in Revenge of the Sith, that's one of those moments for me as a kid. I was 9 years old, I was almost about to turn 10, and I'm watching this scene and I'm like, I've always wanted to know why he was in the suit. And we saw him in Return of the Jedi. They take the mask off, and he's like this worm of a person. He's just like this pale, scarred. You tell your sister you were right. Like I was like, how does he go from being this handsome young dude, with nice hair, to then looking like Joe Organa, to then looking like this sad, like pale, sunken in face, like old guy. Mm-hmm. Like, how do we get that transformation, right? And so that scene where you're my brother Anakin, I know it's meme to death, but like that scene really is like the most like Greek or like Roman tragedy of it all. Like he cut his arms and legs off, the only ones that were abled, and then that weren't robotic, leaves on the side of a hill, and he screams, "I hate you," and burns to death. And like they don't hold back. It's the only reason that movie is a PG-13 rating. It is the only reason. Who would have thought that Star Wars would continue to have PG-13 ratings? We thought that was going to be the last one. For the longest time, that was the only one with a PG-13 rating because of how graphic that scene was. And like you watch that pants leg catch on fire, and you watch it travel up his whole body, and they cut back for a second. You come back, it's literally melting the skin off his face. I mean, it's like so crazy. And as a kid, I'll never forget it. I was just completely shocked by it. Like I was witnessing Darth Vader, and then of course the scenes after it are just as brutal, of him being worked on and it paralleling with Padme's death. All that is scary. All that is genuinely scary. I mean, I think most people rather want to drown than burn to death. I just think that would be a reality. Honestly,
neither. But
of course.
Yes.
But if I had given the choice, I mean, they both sound horrible.
I want to freeze to death. That would still be bad, but I think you just go to sleep.
Yeah, I would choose to live.
That one. That's the one. That's the one, actually.
God, I love you, Joe. I don't know. How do y'all feel about Anakin's burn? I mean, I think that's like some real. It
was very graphic. It was very dark-sided. It was very scary. I agree. I do think the scene of the building of Darth Vader is just as equally as scary.
Yes, it is.
As you touched on, because that's truly that's something out of Saw, but backwards, I guess. They're kind of put them together instead of tore them apart. But very scary stuff.
Yeah, you're like putting someone in a contraption that they don't want to exist in.
That's the part that sticks with me these days more so than it did back then. It didn't really the gravity of it didn't hit me until I was a little older, and then when you look and he sees what he's going to be seeing for the rest of his life, pretty much.
Oh my God!
And you just think about that, because a lot of times you're like, oh yeah, Darth Vader's badass. Like, yeah, I would love to be Darth Vader and all this, because it was like, no, you would not. That is like he's in a Hellraiser-esque like pain torture contraption. That's what that is. And anyway, you want to know something crazy funny as to why Scotty and I are a dyad in the Force, and
We chose the same one.
and everything, because the second thing that I chose was Anakin burning to death, burning alive. And I'm not going to use that as mine. I've got a couple other things we could talk about, but just to hit on it real quick, just like that whole, like, the only reason I have not showed that movie to my kid is because there is someone who literally burns alive. Her, at the time of watching the first couple, favorite character was Anakin.
Right? Oh, see, that's the thing.
It's like, you want to watch him, and she knows he becomes Darth Vader and stuff, because we've seen some of the older movies too. But just, man, and every time I'm like watching that movie, and I'm like, I don't know, I think she could probably handle it. And then I get to him going, and I'm like, no, we can't. Yeah. She's scared of the episode of My Little Pony with the fucking headless pony. So we can't do that. We can't do that. She's pure innocence, and so we can't show her Hayden Christensen burning alive with his little dangly on the chin. No, we can't.
See, that's the thing. And so that was a good. I forget the screaming. I hate this. I forget the screaming is brutal. So look, I'll bring in pretty bad some of these comments too. Scary from Stories me when we get to hear the Darkwing virus sound like inside of Chewbacca's head. Instead of, that's from the book, man. That is nuts. That is crazy. Telling him to eat kids and shit. That's
such a good book.
Yeah.
Also, Tauntaun Guts, pretty disgusting. That is kind of horrible. They cut it, and it's like boop.
I always loved that though as a kid, because it just looks like a bunch of, I don't know, it looks like a bunch of white sausages, just like.
That's good. Taylor, I agree. This is when Joe's talking about Joe's actual comment there, but yeah, this is very true. Very, very, very Dracula. I don't know. I like it. Unnerving, scary, sexy. Yeah. Ewoks. Taylor says Ewoks scared me as a kid. They're mistaken nature, which makes sense. You know, they're freaky. I agree. Regular method of roasting their victims alive. Jared, Dark World Writer pretty much begins the detailed clinical description of what the fire did. Oh, God!
What's funny about the Ewoks roasting their victims alive is that's a very Looney Tunes-esque way to kill somebody. But when you think about the way that they like try to cook people on Looney Tunes, it is fucking terrifying. Yeah, they try to cook live things like they try to cook Bugs Bunny like a lobster, like so many times.
We're in balls.
Anyway, we're in balls.
Oh my God, go back to Jared's thing. What was Jared saying? I'm sorry.
No, he was just talking about the where'd it go? The details of the book. This is funny. I like this. Naboo not having a core is terrifying to me. Just water, billions of pounds of water crushing you down. That is kind of eerie. Joe, let's hear your second one.
Okay. I'm gonna pull this one back to probably the first scary scene in all of Star Wars for me as a kid. Probably the first scary scene I was scared of or got scared during in Star Wars ever, which was the scene where Darth Vader goes to torture Princess Leia. Because up until that point, nothing that scary had happened yet. And it was just like kind of an action, like, whoa, we had big scary Darth Vader, but he wasn't like super scary in that scene. He just was like imposing and intimidating. And then you have the strong, cool, badass princess who's shooting stormtroopers and standing up to Darth Vader and be like, whatever. And then all of a sudden you see like kind of this heroic figure reduced to, shaking in a trapped corner like a rabbit. And then you have this terrifying droid with just a big old needle on the end.
Oh God.
And then you have that whirring sound, which that whirring sound scared the shit out of me as a kid. That to me, that was like that's Saw right there.
Oh, Joe, that's really good. I had not considered that scene because that scene is. I'm trying to get an image of it pulled up. That scene is very scary.
It's very scary. You have this this cool heroic but beautiful princess, and then she's about to be tortured by this guy wearing big black. I obviously knew nothing about Darth Vader at that point. This big black suit, and it's actually very terrifying.
And like, what would it have been like? Yeah, like that's it makes you consider like
you don't know.
You
don't know how she was tortured, but I mean, we do now. But
yeah.
Just watching the movie, I had no idea. I just saw this giant sharp needle, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like needles either."
Yeah. Let me look how scary this is. This is scary looking.
It's horrific. Yeah,
some freaky energy, and like
the sound design too, the music in that scene. It's all very scary.
Yeah.
Michael says most terrifying is that the needle has text in English instead of Arabesh. The terror.
Little did I know. Yeah, that's a good one, Joe. That's one that I had not even considered, because like if you were in that scenario, that would be freaky. And then she still doesn't spill the beans. She still tells them the wrong planet.
And how did he know? How did she not know she was force sensitive in that moment?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, come on, get it together. Loosen your touch.
But that's a good one, Joe. I like that one. Jerry, what's your next one?
Okay, so my new second one, because since Scotty and I share one brain cell, every other Wednesday and every other weekend,
and Joe Organa every night.
Yes, exactly. Oh, but that's just for us.
It's Eiffel Tower Joe again. Hold on.
Woo! Oh, here we go.
Eiffel Tower Joe. Do the thrusting.
Here we go. Bye, Bloom. Have a good time.
Sickos.
See you later. So
perverts.
I'm gonna say my second, and this is a newer favorite thing now, right? And this could have been my creature. But I'm gonna say the Nameless. From the Star Wars, from the High Republic series, the Force Eaters, the Eaters of the Force.
Get a picture pulled up.
Which is something that it's the cosmic horror that I was talking about earlier to begin with, because every sequence, especially when Kevin Scott writes, I mean, anyone who writes these things, they just get worse and worse. Actually, every time I hear someone dying, a Jedi dying, from being eaten by one of the Nameless, it gets more existential and dreadful and terrifying. I mean, you just look some of these up and read these. I mean, I don't know if we could pull up a quote or not right now off the top of it. I don't have any saved, but if you read these quotes, I'm telling you, they are absolutely terrifying, because these are and they're kind of very Lovecraftian with the way that they are just almost shapeless, shouldn't be alive tentacle monsters. They don't seem to ever die, yet they're constantly hungry. Yet they're exactly right. And it's like, why can't we just get this over with? Yeah, it's absolutely relatable. That's why I like them so much. But I mean, they're shapeless kind of a little bit, like at the beginning, especially before like anyone who wasn't a Jedi saw them, the Jedi couldn't pinpoint what they were. They could not see them, even when they're like right in front of them, which is one of the most terrifying things. It's like, it's right there. All you do is feel intense fear, intense pain, intense, just like you feel every failure in your life, and it synthesizes you to just like a base of fear. It's not even like it's straight primal. It turns you into just a primal, like creature, just like begging for your life is what it turns you into. And it's oh God, it's so terrifying. But just, I don't know, the way that they describe it. Have you found like any quotes or anything like that?
I'll read one. One of them says,
read a little bit.
Some call them the Sri Kai Eaters of the Force. To others, they are simply the Nameless. Their mere presence causes madness, hallucinations, and Force users. Another one is, we understand that any Jedi anywhere aboard Starlight is vulnerable to these attacks at any moment. Any of us, all of us, may fall. Another one is, it's long, sort of desiccated, with sharp claws twitching very slightly. Came after me.
They look like they should be dead. Like they're like they look like they're like dying and desiccated. That's the thing too. Is just, anyway, so just absolutely terrifying. And that's one of the things that has made this book so. And because at first they had the Drengir, which were kind of a little terrifying, but they were, the sentient plants who eat meat and stuff.
I
Which
like
is a terrifying concept. I liked them a lot too. But this concept took that and just absolutely shot it into the stratosphere. So
very scary.
Cool idea. I would love to see it in live action. That's a good one, Jerry. I like that one. Good one. All right, I'm gonna give you another one of mine. Mine is also from Revenge of the Sith. Still, this one's more horror and kind of the evil, almost like the Hitler of it all. Like, how could someone do one thing that's so terrible? But it's Order 66, and we've seen it from so many angles now. And we can I can pull it up real quick. But we've just had the unfortunate privilege to see Order 66 from everything from a bunch of kids getting slain in the temple,
angle.
By Anakin, to even a kid like young Caleb Dune running away in the Bad Batch, even Ahsoka. It's just the craziest thing. Look, there's one person that has all of them cut intercut together. I'll play that one. But this shit, truly, every time it pops up, I'll never forget the opening of Kenobi. When it popped up the temple that night, I'm like, it's so over. We know what we're gonna get. We knew before it even happened, what scene we were getting, how it was gonna fall together. It's genuinely an incredible. It is the 9/11 quote unquote of Star Wars, where so many things are happening at once. For this to occur, you know what I mean? Here we go. Look, all the way from Grogu. All right, Anakin walks to the temple. We've seen every angle.
Everybody, every single angle.
Everyone's story. Boom. That's from Kenobi, right? Incredibly shot. Super tragic. I hate to say it, looks true to Revenge of the Sith's color palette. Here's the one from the Mandalorian. All the Jedi defending and stopping. This is scary stuff. An army that you once trusted has now turned against you. But there is glimmers of hope in this too. This is where we get Keller and Beck, obviously. All that was amazing. Look at this. This is crazy. It's rare that you get to watch it all intercut together. But you even see Cal Kestis's perspective from this as a little boy. It's twisted. It's seriously scary. And you look at all the other Jedi that are dying. There was at this point, to our knowledge, there was 10,000 Jedi, and then all within one, blink, they were all slain. You know what I mean? Or most of them were.
Well, and this, unfortunately, ties to a very real fear in our country. Unfortunately, the threat of school shootings, which are more and more and fucking more, and no person in charge wants to do a fucking thing about any of it.
No.
Right. And it's a very, they had to put, that disclaimer in front of that episode of Kenobi.
Yeah.
And all that, because I think there was a shooting even just the week before that aired.
Yeah.
And not to get too real with it, but it's
real.
That's my greatest fear right now, and everything.
Of course.
Again, with someone with a child and things it's all of our fears because it happens everywhere and stuff. But it's just, it's fucking terrifying.
Joe, how do you feel about this selection?
It's very terrifying. It's very real. It's mass killings are something that we see far too often in the real world, and to see it on screen like this, it's terrifying because it's just too real, and it's happening to our heroes on screen and to children, which is not something we typically see in Star Wars, us go that dark and deep with it, but it was necessary to really turn a beloved character like Anakin Skywalker into the monster we know him as when he's Darth Vader. So it was necessary for us to go to a place we never had gone in this series before.
I agree.
So great pick, very scary.
Thank you. And also one thing too, in the greater sense of it all, when these things pop up, it does fill me with dread. You know, like in the most recent one was Kenobi, if I'm not it was Mandalorian season 3. Whereas this part kind of lifted me up. Obviously, I didn't expect Ahmad Best would be in this and all that, but like damn, like watching this, it was just, I mean, it's something so gut-wrenching, and like I kept thinking, oh my god, is Keller and Beck make it out of this alive? All these Jedi that we grow to love in Clone Wars, including die here. Ki-Adi-Mundi, it's just brutal. I don't know. That's the intention of this scene, though. It's to make you think about all the things that are going on at once, and how this could have successfully occurred, and like the evilness of Palpatine is truly the deeper point of all this. Yeah, this is, watching it now is really kind of surreal because they're cutting everything together, and they haven't even got to the Ahsoka part, which is arguably my favorite version, quote unquote, of it. Let's go to that one where she has to turn against her friends. Like, this is it. Watching this for the very first time after Jimmy Sitz flies away. This is one of the few times animation has like truly made me like sob. This sent me, because like you're thinking, okay, how does Rex? There's no way Rex is going to turn. There's just no way. There's no way he's going to turn. And you see him fighting back, like what is happening. Ahsoka sensing all of them die around her. Yeah, dude, look at that. That's terrifying.
You don't see any of them fight as hard as Rex, which I love. I love that about Rex.
Look at him. He knows it's wrong, and like at this point, he has a tear. Brutal. But look at that.
And what's crazy about this, and this is kind of the tragedy of it all, is it's probably because of Anakin.
Yes,
he's like that.
Yes,
it's a part of it. Well, it's Rex as well, but Anakin's influence, I think, definitely like the way he questions everything and just cares so deeply for people, like that really kind of, I think, made an impression on Rex as well. So,
well, it's true. What makes it crazier about this scene in particular is that Ahsoka never deflects a blaster bolt back at them. None of them ever get hurt. She's just deflecting it at a place so she can escape. And like, I think it should cut to Cal next, if I'm not mistaken. They may have omitted Cal. They cut Cal entirely out of it. The Cal Kestis one is the craziest one. You know what I mean?
I was just say, it doesn't cut to or Obi-Wan and Yoda just straight up murdering clones in the courtyard, does it? Yeah.
They don't care. At that point, they realize they're far too gone. But like the Cal Kestis stuff is crazy. Yeah, look, here's all of them cut together at the same exact time, like at the moment it happens. Which, I mean, things like this happen in our real world every day. I don't know. This is just, it gets a little heavy, but this is scary to me. This is a scary, like, one person has enough power to pull something like this off. You know what I mean?
This is real horror.
Yeah.
This is like real life existential dread type thing.
Yep. And by the end of it, you can see all of them happening simultaneously. Yeah, it's nuts, man. That's nuts. Anyway, let's move on to Joe's final pick for the evening. Joe, what do we got?
My final pick, I'm also going to bring it back to childhood, which this, to me, I think was probably the scariest scene in the original trilogy, because that's all that existed at the time. And that is the scene of Luke entering the dark side cave on Dagobah.
Yes, dude.
Because that was truly like, it felt so out of left field. I remember as a kid feeling like, what is happening? Like, it was the most spiritual and like sort of weird that it had ever gotten into that point. And like just the way Yoda sent him in there.
God,
and
so
like,
good.
His demeanor was just so scary. And you had no idea. I was like, why is Darth Vader in this tree cave thing? It was very scary and confusing, and I don't think I ever understood it until much later in life.
I mean, yeah, we can just watch it real quick. I mean, this is it's freaky, and Yoda's warning is take only what what is it, Jerry? You know it better than me probably. It's
what's in there. Luke says what's in there, and he says only what you take with you. And he tells him he won't need his weapons and things like that. And of course he takes them, and then he gets what he takes in there with him. So
yeah,
there's such a feeling of isolation in this scene for some reason. It's very scary and very unnerving.
Yeah, this to me is like George at his finest. And I know it's Irvin Kershner, but like George at his finest, just show don't tell. Like it's freakier to not explain it. You know what I mean? It's more, and it's also very fable-y. It's very mythological of like, you know, you're in this too. You're just as clueless as Luke is, which is always a really fun thing to play around with because, like I said, like when you're walking through a dark forest at night, even if you know you're safe and like you see lights of the trees and the neighbors around you, there's still something in your primal brain that's a little freaked out by this, and that's this scene.
The lights just cause more they just cast more shadows. That's the
yes,
thing, you know.
Yeah.
This is the part that gets me about this scene, and
yes,
especially when I was a kid, is like just the absolute mind fuck and everything that is Luke's face inside the decapitated, which I had to really like pause and talk with Ella about when we watched Empire Strikes Back a couple months ago. You know, just like that really does kind of that's some imagery that is designed to really make a kid think too. You know what I mean? It's designed to make everyone think, but that's like, it's very visual imagery of like, you are can literally become Darth Vader, you know, if you go down this path.
Like this is where it gets heavy. Yeah. Like right here. Boom. You know, one thing, Jerry, I don't know if this is your third one. I'm going to put in the private chat so I don't ruin it, but hold on. If it's not, I'm going to talk about it. Just so we don't spoil it. Check the private chat real quick. Is that your third one?
Hold on. Let me see.
That's my honorary mention.
No.
It's not, okay, because I'll talk about it right here. So this scene is excellent because you then see a weirder, more twisted version of this, and not really as twisted. This is arguably a more twisted version with this scene right here, but you get Rey's Force vision in The Force Awakens. That one's pretty freaky too, in terms of what it's trying to tell you as a viewer, and like you get kind of this moment. You know what I mean? And there's some cut stuff from Rey's Force vision that I really wish was in it, and we'll spend a whole episode talking about that one day. But like, yeah, look, even Yoda knowing and not even seeing Luke is just so apt. I don't know, it's amazing. Right. It's so good. Yeah, I can. Oh Jesus. Just jump scare, but yeah, like this whole scene is just insane. The slow-mo in Star Wars, the way the helmet and the body fall is perfect.
Eli, I'll watch Brain Invaders with you, buddy. I'll hold your hand. It'll be fun.
Yeah, this is just next level creepy. The halftime of the look at that. The smoke out of his eye. It's perfect.
The smoke goes real. Yeah, it goes real.
Perfect.
Like slow-mo. Yeah.
What does it mean? You know, Joe, that's a really good one. That's one that's super underrated. Yeah. That is brilliant. Wow. That was awesome. That was really good. I not considered that one yet. Jerry, what's your third one, bud?
My third and final one is one thing I love a lot in the horror genre, obviously, is supernatural horror. Yes, I love when it is something supernatural and not of this earth or spiritual or something like that. I just, again, grew up very religious, Ghostbusters fan early on. And so anytime it's anything like that, I love that kind of stuff. And when the ghost crew gets possessed by the Night Sisters.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a great sleeper hit. It's because and I've watched that one with the kiddo, and it still is. You don't remember like how kind of creepy it is until you're back in it, and they're like just like it's like the melding. It's like a Night Sisters like distorted voice coming out of Kanan. Is a weird, and with the green glowing eyes with the the green smoke kind of coming out of there as well is I don't know, it's a very weird look at that. I mean, just even that, just like the eyes in the darkness, terrifying. So
God, great episode.
Anytime you have glowing eyes, any glowing eyes is just absolutely horrifying. So,
oh, you know what's funny too? I didn't even think about it. There's some really good horror in Star Wars Visions. The Visions and Voices comment made me think about that too. I didn't even think of Star Wars Visions, but like same thing. Animated, honestly, in some ways, is scarier. You know, animated
all
has
the really crazy horror moments are in animation. I feel like,
yes,
like the
I think
straight up horror homages are in animation.
Because in live action, it could be too much. You know what I mean? Like we saw this kind of in Ahsoka, you know, with the
I do think it
possession
would
of
be
the
too
clone
much.
troopers. But look at
Look
that.
at that. Like, I mean, that's straight out of a horror movie, like
Sabine.
crawling on the walls and stuff like that.
It's good. That's a really good final one, Jerry. I love that.
Thank you.
Oh, the Darksaber versus. Oh, this is so good. I forgot how good this was.
Well, and you've even got like where you got to force them into the light or out of the cave, and when he is right here when he's about to force pull Sabine out, just watch the way that. Well, hold on. I don't know if it's this exact. Yeah, when he's force pushing her out, just the way that she claws too.
Oh yeah, look.
It's just it's unsettling. It's like no. It's very Evil Dead. This episode.
Oh man, that's great. I forgot how cool that was. Yeah, we can do an honorable mention.
That's a sleeper hit right there. You know,
Zombie Troopers, Ahsoka. This is honorable mention. Obviously, not that we're gonna have to talk about this one. This might be someone's choice in the chat.
They were good, but they just didn't. Yeah, I mean, like it was cool getting the zombie troopers and seeing the creepy thing is the glowing eyes behind the lenses.
Yes, that was pretty wild. Them themselves is not as scary. This does to me, and it always felt like since I watched this straight up out of like a 1950s, like the stairwell scene, 1950s, like fencing or like a slashing movie. You know what I mean? Like a I don't even know how to say it. Like some sort of like Three Musketeers, like, we're fighting all these people. It's like a weird combination of it. But yeah, I mean, this is great. And like they get back up after the lightsaber stabs. Like that's dope. You can't beat it. That's freaking awesome. But no, I agree. Night Sisters have scary. My final one, if y'all are ready to wrap this thing up, my final one is going to be a very real scene because this is scary. And I know some of you probably have had manipulators in your life that have gotten it to you and have gotten under your skin. And so we all have. People love to manipulate, especially we're all really kind and real people. And for some reason, people that love to manipulate kind of prey on people like us. I had a friend of mine that I knew in college that was really good at it. And like prey to my fears and prey to my like insecurities about stuff. But Palpatine and Anakin and there's two different versions of this. Palpatine and Anakin in the opera scene. That shit is scary. That shit is so perfect and manipulative and scary. And you know what?
Yeah.
Obviously brings up midi-chlorians, one of my favorite aspects of Star Wars. But like even beside that, watching that scene and like someone like J.J. Abrams even cites this scene as like the best in the prequels because it is. There's no other scene like this in Star Wars. There is no other 5-minute unbroken dialogue scene. There's nothing like it. And like to be that bold in the middle of this movie that's like a huge epic is crazy. Like this whole thing is crazy. The scenario of it all, what they're watching, how unsettling it is, the energy behind it all is a very low quality version of it. But like you can just see, telling them to leave. He's literally the emperor of the galaxy. Like it's
just like a straight up just leave and everyone gets up and like without hesitation or anything is that's terrifying in and of itself,
And like, look how this scene is constructed. And this is something every year in my broadcasting class, I teach my kids like how scenes are constructed, like establishing shot. Okay, then watch this. I'm gonna clip through it. They got a very slow, dolly in the entire dolly in, all the way till it gets to like almost over shoulder. You got cut to Palpatine's shoulder, Anakin in it. Cut to Anakin's shoulder, Palpatine in it, and watch. What do you notice? Every time the conversation gets more intense, what is the camera doing? It pulls them in, pulls them out. It focuses. It comes closer. It gets closer as the conversation gets more dramatic. And like all these moments are freaky. Like what they're talking about is freaky. Darth Plagueis the Wise is like this thing that still, unfortunately, in canon has not been elaborated on. It's freaky. It's meant to freak you out. And I watch this scene every time with the utmost intrigue. I love that scene. That scene is so scary. And of course, the scene where they're, of course, fighting with the broken window behind him, and Mace is, don't listen to him, man. They got that old scene. Like, that is also a scary scene. He's like, I can save you. I can save the ones you love from dying. Like, it's freaking crazy. And Anakin has to make a choice, and he's you know his answer. You just know his answer already.
Yeah,
he has such a deep desire to save Padme, and he ends up causing her death. But I don't know where does that scene rank for you? Is that scary to y'all? Because that scene still freaks me out. How well done it is. It's so brash.
It's very scary. I think any scene where you're hinting at something deeper, darker, and untold, like Palpatine is with Darth Plagueis, and hinting at this unnatural ability to keep people from from death. To me, I love that. I love like just giving you a little nugget of something scary and letting your mind run with it. And also any scene with an older man in power taking advantage of a beautiful younger man, it's a little too close to home.
Oh, right. I'm sorry, Joe.
Well, no, I mean, listen, it's something we all have to deal with at some point in our life when we're young and beautiful.
I love you, Joe.
No,
you're so handsome.
It's Palm Springs all over again.
Oh no, it's Boca Raton all over again, man.
Oh, man.
Take us back. No, Jerry, what about you, man? How does that make you feel?
No, I mean, well, it is another real world terrifying. You're bringing the existential dread hardcore tonight.
I know. I don't
mean to, which is good. No, it's fine. Well, because like, see, us who like horror, people think we're like hardcore, but we like fun monsters and things like that. And Scotty's coming in here like, hey guys, isn't like the threat of like mass violence scary? What about guys? What about if you were being groomed by an old politician,
like literally,
to become literally the Satan of his regime?
What do you think of burn victims? Don't they freak you out? Don't burn victims?
Isn't it crazy when someone gets their skin melted off their fucking flesh? Isn't it crazy?
Yes, come on.
So it, very real world stuff, and I mean, it's, to tie it to something maybe a little more Halloweeny and stuff like that. It's a little. Am I wrong in thinking it feels very Interview with a Vampire?
What?
Something like that, like
that
just
scene,
like that scene, just like
it
just feels
that.
like a vampire, like courting their next victim.
Yes, no, I agree, and it's funny because we're lucky as viewers because we got the original trilogy before we got the prequel trilogy. But like, imagine not knowing where Palpatine's story was going. That would be pretty. That would be probably the greatest scene in all of Star Wars if you didn't already know the outcome. You know what I mean? Like, and none of us would be here without come. So I think it's really
None of us.
So.
Yeah, no, I think if you didn't know Palpatine's story, it would have been an incredible character arc. And I mean, it was an incredible character arc. It's just, but I think oh my God, I had something to say, but my brain took it away. But just seeing that man in power take advantage of someone who, like, all joking aside, taking advantage of someone who is young, and I'm so sorry, but one of the dumbest men I've ever had the experience.
Yes.
He's very naive, I would say. Anakin Skywalker as an adult man.
It's true.
He I don't want to say what I'm thinking, but he hit it one time and fell in love is what I'm thinking.
Exactly.
He's just that type of guy, where he's all in from the get-go. He has one emotion. He feels very strongly about it.
That's it.
We all knew that guy in high school who, the first time he touched a boob, that he was obsessed with her, and he wouldn't leave her alone, and we all felt bad for her. And Anakin Skywalker is that guy. He happens to be 6'6" and gorgeous, so it worked out in the end. But it's very scary to see someone in who is much smarter and in a position of power taking advantage of someone, because I think we've all been that person being taken advantage of, like Scott.
Yes. Like it's just so easy to trust someone.
Yeah.
And like genuinely, if someone told me, oh, if you followed me, you could save the ones you love from dying. Right. Like that sounds really enticing.
You have to remember, he's also known Palpatine since he was a small child, ripped away from his mother, and
exactly,
Palpatine's been grooming him since that young age. So it's very
makes it
dark.
Even worse.
It's very dark
even
and creepy.
Worse.
Any honorable mentions, y'all, before we wrap this thing up? Because I have one I want to share. The ice spiders in the Mandalorian season 2. That shit was awesome.
Yeah,
that shit was awesome. It was the whole oh, we're taking a bath in this thing, and Grogu's like walking up to stuff, and nothing felt right, and Din's the only one that's like, wait a minute, this is not gonna go. Something feels wrong here. He's like, no, don't go up to it. Grogu goes up to it, and he sees a big egg which he wants to eat.
Starts eating, he just starts eating, which is disgusting.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And as a viewer, like, oh god, this can't be good. But that was actually one of the first times we saw the Razor Crest get like absolutely it's shit rocked, and like it was honestly a good foreshadow for it being destroyed later in the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say it got its shit rocked pretty hard later on.
Yes, it did.
The part that gets me with that scene is the legs trying to go through the door. Like,
so gross.
Oh yes,
because listen, I love all of God's creatures are special and should be protected and all that, except fuck mosquitoes, I guess, is what society's saying. Have you seen where they're like genetically like killing mosquitoes?
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's cool. Also, fuck them. But we wouldn't have Jurassic Park without them, though. But what was I even gonna say now? Oh, spiders.
Spiders.
They just give me the ick, and it's nothing personal. Spiders. It's just that you look like the goddamn devil on 8 legs, and I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
And just keep eating all the bugs that I don't like, and it'll be cool. It's fine.
What makes those spiders creepy though too is like they like lay eggs from their mouth or whatever, because we see them in Rebels too. They're like, wow.
In Rebels it is like it's like a bird spider egg thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And here it's like, hey, what if we took that concept and made it horrifyingly like realistic and everything?
Yeah, hold
like
on.
That, and just
I'm gonna find the Ralph McQuarrie concept art, because that's where it all comes from.
They were more the ones in Rebels were like a little more stylized,
they're a little more friendly too.
And they like had the beaks and stuff, whereas these were more like the Ralph McQuarrie with like the suction mouths, or like like the lamprey bottom mouth, kind of thing going on.
Oh, I love it. Joe, do you have an honorable mention? Anything that comes to mind, baby?
I mean, any scene where Gina Carano had to read a line, that was pretty scary. It was pretty scary.
That's really good.
No, serious one. I mean, the hallway scene in Rogue One. I know I don't want to upset you, Scotty, but the hallway scene in Rogue One was pretty scary when Darth Vader's cutting through those poor innocent men.
Yeah.
And just anything with like a time crunch where he's just trying to get it done. They're passing it along, and he just at the last second. That's very scary stuff.
That's a good one.
When it starts off in the dark too. When it starts off in the dark,
the
and you
light
just
up
hear
the
the
flashlight,
breathing.
very
That's the
scary.
perfect opening to that.
Yeah.
See, funny enough, my other Vader moment, not aside from the ones in Revenge of the Sith, was the one at Kenobi where he's walking down that little courtyard, or I guess you could say like street, and he's like snapping people's necks and shit. That was
people.
Scary, dragging people behind him. That was really terrifying. That was another one. Jerry, any honorable mentions? Oh, look, here you go. Here's the spider creature. Just finish up.
It's sweet.
Look at
Jesus.
that. Yes, God bless all the eggs and like the eggs from the mouth hole. I love it.
How do we know that's its mouth?
You're right. It could be its vagina.
It's its cloaca.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Multiple purposes.
Yeah,
multiple purposes.
Yeah, they eat and shit and have sex with that thing. So, bad city planner. God is a bad city planner if he created that thing.
So what are you thinking, Jerry? Any honorable mentions?
Man, I don't know. We talked about so much like good shit tonight. I guess honorable mention. I don't know, the Night Sisters. The first time we see Night Sister zombies.
Yeah. Okay.
Whenever they first started. Also, okay, you know what's even more terrifying than that? The Elder Witch that they have locked in like a wall or something. The Elder or whatever. You remember, like that she's the one that raises the Night Sister from the dead.
Oh yeah.
And she talks like this or something.
Yes.
She's very terrifying.
Yeah.
She is fucking horrifying. So anyway, witches.
Another one that's also scary, more body horror again. Something I just because I was thinking like Soul. Does Soul anything have a scary? Anything? Yeah, Soul has one really scary thing. This is the one that freaks me out still to this day. This bitch. Good lord.
Oh,
yeah. The one that's like there's no cranium, but it's still a person.
That's
and like
funny
dry.
That's the actual name is decraniated to me.
That's how I feel at work. That's how I feel at work. Truly.
That is,
yeah.
I took an edible Sunday night and I was feeling very foggy the next day, and so that's what I felt like at work the next day for like the first hour.
But they still made sure to put lipstick on her. God bless.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's just creepy. I love that. That's a really good one. No, another one is the Snokes and the Snoketoberfest, everyone. Snoke in the tank.
Shout out Blast Points.
Shout out the Blast Points. Like Snoke in the tank right here. That was genuinely scary in the Rise of Skywalker.
Pickled Snokes.
That like raised so many questions. That was the craziest drop in the Rise of Skywalker of all time. That was just nuts, man.
Zombie Palpatine as well.
Zombie Palpatine.
Yeah, I love him on his Omen harness, I believe is what it's called.
That's it. Yeah, look,
I love Zombie Palpatine. I'm all for it.
My God, this is so great.
That is Donald Trump right now. Is
literally. Oh my God, it's so good. I wish we had more time with him.
I know.
Maybe Trump or Zombie Palpatine?
Zombie Palpatine.
Zombie Palpatine.
Much better.
Why is that even a question? Yeah.
Anyway, y'all, this has been a great night, Joe. I love talking to you about this kind of stuff. This has been wonderful. We need to have Joe Organa on more.
Always happy to be here. I love talking. I love steering conversations back to myself. It's really my passion in life. So thank you,
Joe. I love you so much, Joe. Let's promote your merch again. Hold on, I need to get it pulled up.
Get it pulled up there.
Joe, anything coming up?
Pull it out
for you,
and slop it out there, Scotty. Let's get it.
My birthday's coming up. That's about it, babe.
When is it?
December 29th. That's really it. I have nothing in the works. I did just get offered 2 collabs via email by 2 different companies. One being a gay dating app that wanted me to promote their dating app, and another being a sex toy company. So I will not be doing either of those, unfortunately.
Damn it!
But
we were so close, though.
I'll consider it.
Look at this.
Imagine me holding up a toy.
There you go. Yeah, I just wanna have that toy. Is it Joe Organa endorsed?
Is it one of those like things you have that has the handles that you can like
I think
or something?
It's pretty common. Like a lot of people, if you're like gay and have over like 20,000 followers on a certain or on any social media app, they email you and they're like, "Hey, would you please do a promoted post?" And a lot of people do them. I won't. I don't think.
That's fair. I don't.
Organa.
Oh, I love Joe. Look
Joe, it's
Joe. Joe, we need to have you model these. Is this you? That's you. Is it?
It is me. No, I don't shave my legs.
Oh, damn, I was gonna say you probably don't shave your legs. No, I wouldn't blame you. This is so nice. I love these shirts.
Yes,
obviously. I'm rocking one. I got the I Hate Joe Organa.
I hate Joe
Organa. Which one do you have? You also have
I also hate Joe Organa. It's my favorite one.
I have the cat one somewhere here. I need to throw that back on, man. I'm telling you.
It's
I love
brilliant.
Thank you guys.
Joe, thank you so much for coming on, man. We love you.
Anytime.
I forgot what we're doing next week. Let me double check with Jerry. Let me just look at our text, Jerry.
Let's look at our text chain here. I was gonna say I know we've got our creepypasta episode coming up.
The 31st. Mm-hmm.
Fun.
31st, Halloween on All Hallows Eve.
That's right, on Halloween. Joe, if you want to come read a story, you can always write one. Or Jerry, next week you have to figure this out. You gotta talk your paranormal stuff, dude.
Oh, that's your next week?
That's next week, dude.
Yeah, I thought that was
if you can, can you do the Montauk stuff? I don't know if you want to talk Montauk, but like that's something I don't know a lot about, and I would love to learn.
Okay. I would have to do some hardcore research on that one.
Okay, or do one that you know well.
We'll see. Because I was thinking about doing like maybe like a little short, real paranormal horror anthology style.
Okay, that's fine.
Like,
Look,
maybe like doing like a couple of different like weird stories, weird but true. You decide.
Yeah,
kind of things.
So I'll recap all the ones for our listeners now that can go back and watch it. We've been doing the same exact thing for the last 5 years of the show where we talk, and then I don't think we did it during our first year, but we definitely did it the last 4, where we talk, obviously things that are scary. And Jerry has focused his gaze upon the first one is the what is it, Kentucky, the
Hopkinsville Goblins.
Hopkinsville Goblins.
The Kelly
That's a good
Hopkinsville
one.
Goblins, which is
Great
is
one.
not about goblins.
No.
It's about aliens.
Yes.
But they called them goblins. Just go. It's a great
I
story.
read I read all the police reports and all the documents to my kids one day after a
I sent that to you. Yeah, I had like an entire book that was written, I'm pretty sure, by one of the like Project Blue Book guys. It was like just like a case file type PDF or something.
So cool. The second one, if I'm not mistaken, God, I don't remember that. I don't remember them in order, but I can tell you which is which. I know there was that one. There was Skinwalker Ranch. The other one
Skinwalker Ranch was this last year. Yes.
The electromagnetic voice or whatever that one is. That one with the cuts
the
back.
Stally House.
The Stally
House in Oklahoma. Yeah,
fuck that one. That was awful.
We fucked up Scotty's night. I had to promise Scotty to watch The Phantom Menace with him afterwards because
and we did.
We played a voice.
That was like so scary.
We played EVP. That is one of the scariest EVPs I've ever heard in my goddamn life.
It was. I don't even talk about it. It's so bad, and I never get freaked out. You can go back and watch it.
Shout out to Astonishing Legends, who was where that comes from. So go check out Astonishing Legends. They're a great paranormal podcast. So very in depth, very scientific as well. Scotty, you would love them. Anyway.
What was the third one? So we can wrap this up. It was the fourth one. It was Skinwalker. The Goblins, the
Real Men in Black we did.
That's a good one. Yes, that was years ago.
That's one of my favorite things, but also one of the things I'm terrified of because it also kind of touches another one of Scotty's least favorite things, black-eyed children.
Stop going away. All right, y'all have a great night. I love talking to all of you. Joe, it's been so nice having you. Joe, can you miss a good Stay Bombad to wrap this up?
Sure. Stay Bombad, please.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Jackie. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share. What is it?
Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A sour's disregard, a broken bottle top,
and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If the
ain't gone for long.